You spend $60 a month on supplements. Fish oil for your heart. A. Probiotic for your gut. B. Vitamins for energy. Amino acid capsules for recovery. 4 bottles. 4 price tags. 4 bets that your body will absorb what is inside them. Roman soldiers got all of it from a single condiment, a fermented fish sauce called garum, issued as part of their standard military rations. Modern chemistry has confirmed every nutrient. Your supplement shelf is a $60 recreation of something a legionary carried in his pack 2,000 years ago. The global dietary supplement industry is worth over $200 billion. That figure has roughly doubled in the last decade. It is projected to double again, not because the products are getting better, because the marketing is getting louder. Here is what the marketing leaves out. When you swallow a fish oil capsule, that pill has to survive your stomach acid, dissolve at the right point in your digestive tract, and release its contents in a form your gut can process. The omega-3 fatty acids inside have been extracted from fish, processed, concentrated, encapsulated, and possibly sitting in a warehouse for months. Omega-3s oxidize. They go rancid. And rancid fish oil does not reduce inflammation. It causes it. You may be paying for the opposite of what you wanted. Your probiotic capsule is worse. The bacteria inside were alive once. Then they were freeze-dried, pressed into a tablet, sealed in a bottle, shipped across the country, shelved under fluorescent lights, and eventually purchased by you. By that point, a large percentage of those bacteria are dead. The survivors still have to pass through your stomach, which exists specifically to kill foreign microorganisms. Most do not make it. You are swallowing a mass grave and calling it gut health. B vitamins? Most supplements use synthetic forms. Synthetic B6 has to be converted by your liver into pyridoxal 5-phosphate before your body can use it. Common genetic variations, ones you would never know about without testing, can make that conversion extremely inefficient. You might be taking B6 every morning and getting almost nothing from it. Synthetic folic acid is roughly twice as bioavailable as naturally occurring food folate, which sounds like a win, until you learn that the unmetabolized folic acid circulating in your blood has been flagged in research as a potential concern. The relationship between form and function is not simple. And amino acid capsules? Individual amino acids compete with each other for the same transport channels in your intestinal wall. Flood the system with leucine, and you can physically block the absorption of other amino acids trying to use the same doorway. The ratios matter. A capsule does not care about ratios. This is not fringe science. It is the central problem of nutrition research. Scientists call it bioavailability, the fraction of an ingested nutrient that actually reaches your bloodstream in a usable form. And the research is consistent. Nutrients delivered inside a whole food matrix, surrounded by the fats, enzymes, cofactors, and bacteria they naturally occur alongside, are absorbed more efficiently than the same nutrients ripped out and stuffed into a capsule. Think of it like this. A symphony sounds beautiful. But if you sell each instrument separately and tell people to play them alone in different rooms, you do not get a symphony. You get noise. The supplement industry is selling you instruments and calling it music. Your digestive system evolved over hundreds of thousands of years. Not once during that time did it encounter a gel capsule. It evolved to process food, whole food. Messy, complex, tangled combinations of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, minerals, vitamins, fiber, and living microorganisms, all arriving together in what scientists call the food matrix. When you eat a piece of fish, your gut does not extract one nutrient at a time. The fats carry the fat-soluble vitamins across your intestinal wall. The proteins fragment into amino acids gradually, at a pace your transport channels can handle without competing. The minerals bond with organic acids that shuttle them into absorption. Everything arrives in context. Your gut recognizes the package. But here is the part that changes everything. Your gut bacteria are not just passengers, they are active participants in nutrient absorption. Certain genera, Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus, actually synthesize B vitamins on their own inside your intestines. Probiotic bacteria regulate your intestinal pH, and that pH shift directly enhances how much B12 and folate you absorb. Short-chain fatty acids produced by healthy gut flora increase calcium and phosphorus uptake. Your microbiome is not separate from your nutrition. It is the engine that drives it. So here is the paradox that should have killed the supplement industry decades ago. The single best way to support your gut bacteria is through fermented food. And healthy gut bacteria are what help you absorb vitamins and minerals in the first place. The system is circular. Feed the bacteria, and they feed you. But this only works when the fermented food and the nutrients arrive together, in the same bite. A bottle of probiotics sitting on one shelf and a bottle of B12 sitting on another shelf do not talk to each other. They are strangers. Now, imagine a food that delivered omega-3 fatty acids, a complete profile of free amino acids, B vitamins, and live probiotic bacteria all at once, in a fermented, pre-digested whole food form that your gut recognized instantly. That food was real. It fed the largest empire in the ancient world, and it was made from parts of the fish that butchers threw in the trash. Garum was a fermented fish sauce. It did not originate with Rome. The Greeks had it first, possibly as early as the 5th century BCE, but it was Rome that industrialized it. At its peak, garum was produced at factory scale in fish salting operations stretching from southern Spain to the coast of North Africa to the shores of the Black Sea. It was shipped in standardized ceramic amphorae along the same trade routes as wine and olive oil. It was used more frequently than salt in every surviving Roman recipe. Soldiers, senators, slaves, and emperors all consumed it daily. For over 500 years, it was arguably the most important condiment in the Western world, more ubiquitous in the Roman kitchen than soy sauce is in Japan today. The production process was simple. Take small whole fish, anchovies, sardines, mackerel, leave them whole. The intestines, blood, and organs stay in. Mix with salt at roughly an 8-to-1 ratio by weight. Place this mixture in large ceramic vessels called dolia. Add herbs and spices if desired. Set them in direct sunlight. Wait 2 to 3 months. What happens during those months is a controlled demolition. Digestive enzymes, naturally present in the fish intestines, begin breaking down the proteins through a process called enzymatic proteolysis. Salt regulates the speed, preventing spoilage while allowing fermentation. Bacteria colonize the mixture. Proteins shatter into free amino acids. Fats release from the tissue. The whole fish slowly liquefies into a clear, amber, intensely savory liquid. You strain it. That liquid is garum. The solid residue, called alec, was sold as a cheaper condiment for people who could not afford the liquid. That is the history. Now let us talk about the chemistry, because this is where it gets uncomfortable for anyone selling supplements. In 2018, a Spanish-Italian research team published a chemical analysis of garum residue extracted from 6 dolia in the garum shop of Pompeii. These vessels had been sealed by the eruption of Vesuvius in 79 CE. The shop was buried under meters of volcanic ash in a matter of hours, preserving its contents in an extraordinary state. Researchers found the 6 vessels still intact, without contamination from volcanic debris. The contents were nearly 2,000 years old, and they still contained measurable levels of polyunsaturated fatty acids, including EPA and DHA. These are the exact omega-3 fatty acids inside your fish oil capsules. The archaeological samples showed a fatty acid profile consistent with anchovy-based fermentation, with significant concentrations of both saturated and polyunsaturated fats. Separate research on sardine-based fish sauce produced in a laboratory found 4.2 grams of EPA and 11.3 grams of DHA per 100 grams of fat. That is a serious omega-3 payload. Amino acids. Researchers from the same Pompeii samples detected amino acid residues dominated by glutamic acid, the molecule behind umami flavor, along with organic nitrogen compounds consistent with a full amino acid profile. Broader analysis of modern fish sauces confirms them as concentrated protein sources. They contain roughly 20 grams of nitrogen per liter, about 80% of that in amino acid form. The dominant amino acids are glutamic acid, lysine, leucine, aspartic acid, alanine, and histidine. One published study noted that just a few drops of fish sauce can provide the daily adult requirement of leucine and isoleucine. These amino acids arrive pre-digested, already broken free from the protein chains. Your gut does not have to do the work. The fermentation did it months ago. B. Vitamins. USDA nutritional data for modern fish sauce shows measurable levels of niacin, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, riboflavin, and folate. A single tablespoon provides roughly 2 to 4% of the daily value for several B vitamins, plus about 7.5% of the daily value for magnesium per tablespoon. That sounds modest. But Romans did not measure garum by the tablespoon. It went into breakfast, porridge, lunch, dinner, and snacks. It replaced salt in cooking. Conservative estimates of daily intake across multiple meals put the cumulative B vitamin contribution well above what a single serving suggests. And then there are the probiotics. This is the finding that ties everything together. Sally Granger is a Roman food historian and experimental archaeologist who has spent years recreating garum using the actual ancient methods, not the modern Asian process. The critical difference is salt. Modern Thai and Vietnamese fish sauces ferment with very high salt concentrations over 12 to 18 months. Ancient Roman recipes used much less salt, that 8-to-1 ratio, and fermented for only 2 to 3 months. The lower salt allows something that high salt fermentation kills, the growth of lactobacillus bacteria. Granger confirmed high lactobacillus content in her ancient method garum. Modern fish sauce, she reports, contains none. Read that again. The ancient version was a live probiotic food. The modern version is not. Somewhere between Rome and the present, we optimized the recipe for shelf life and killed the most valuable part. One condiment, used daily, produced from the cheapest raw material available, and every single nutrient your supplement shelf tries to deliver was already inside it, arriving together in a form your gut was built to absorb. Now, I want to be honest about something, because most content about garum gets it wrong, and I think you deserve better than hype. Ancient recipe garum, the low-salt version with live lactobacillus, did not last years on a shelf. Granger's research indicates a shelf life of roughly 6 months. The high protein content and active bacterial cultures meant the sauce would eventually degrade. It was not aged like wine. It was produced continuously and consumed quickly. The Romans treated it the way you treat fresh bread. Make it, eat it, make more. The product that did last year's was called muria. It was made from cleaned, gutted, salted fish. No blood, no viscera, no intestinal enzymes. The result was a cleaner, more stable brine that could be stored for up to 4 years. As Christianity spread and blood prohibitions took hold, muria gradually replaced blood-based garum across large parts of the empire. So the probiotic version was fresh. The shelf-stable version was not probiotic. There is no magic condiment that does everything and lasts forever. I am not going to pretend otherwise. But here is what that honesty reveals. The Romans did not need shelf stability because they had something better: constant production. Garum was not a preserved emergency food. It was an industrial product manufactured year-round at dozens of facilities across the Mediterranean. Pliny the Elder described garum as being made from intestines and parts of the fish that would otherwise be thrown away. The fish salting industry was already catching tuna at massive scale along migration routes from the Strait of Gibraltar to the Black Sea. The offal from processing those fish, the blood, gills, and organs removed during butchering, was the raw material. No additional fishing required, no dedicated supply chain. Garum was a secondary product of an industry that already existed. For the Roman military, this meant a nutrient-dense condiment that cost almost nothing to produce at scale. It was shipped in sealed amphorae to military installations across the empire. Archaeologists have found garum containers at outposts from Hadrian's Wall in northern England to forts along the Euphrates in modern Iraq. The standard legionary diet was built around wheat: porridge in the morning, bread for the march, grain soup in the evening, heavy in carbohydrates, light in everything else. A soldier marching 20 miles in armor, digging fortifications, and fighting battles needs fats, amino acids, and micronutrients that grain alone cannot provide. Garum filled those gaps. A few spoonfuls stirred into the morning porridge, a splash over the evening meal. No prescription, no subscription, no monthly delivery box. Fish guts, salt, and sunlight. Your supplement stack costs $60 a month. That is $720 a year. The Roman army fed a nutrient profile comparable to your 4 bottles to hundreds of thousands of soldiers using byproducts that would have been thrown in the sea. So why did we end up here? Why are you standing in a supplement aisle choosing between 17 brands of fish oil when the entire fish was always the answer? Garum did not disappear because something better replaced it. It disappeared because the empire that manufactured it collapsed, the trade networks fractured, the industrial fish salting factories closed. The specialized knowledge of large-scale fermentation scattered with the people who held it. Fish sauce survived in Southeast Asia, where it remains a daily staple for hundreds of millions of people. Nam pla in Thailand, nuoc mam in Vietnam, patis in the Philippines. The tradition never died. It just left Europe, and for over 1,000 years, the Western world forgot what fermented fish could do. Centuries later, when Western science learned to identify individual vitamins and minerals, it made a decision that shaped everything that followed. It assumed the nutrient was what mattered, not the food, not the matrix, not the bacteria, not the ratios, just the molecule. Extract the omega-3 from the fish, discard the fish, synthesize the B6 in a lab, skip the fermentation, freeze-dry the bacteria, ignore the ecosystem they came from. Package each molecule separately, sell them in different bottles, charge a premium for each one. That logic created a $200 billion global industry, and the bioavailability research has been quietly undermining it for years. Nutrients surrounded by their natural cofactors absorb better. Fermented foods support the gut bacteria that drive absorption. The context a nutrient arrives in is not packaging. It is part of the medicine. But you cannot build recurring revenue on a ceramic pot of fermented fish. There is no subscription model for Garum. No one is paying $39.99 a month for auto-shipped anchovy guts. There are no influencer deals, no premium tiers, no loyalty points, no limited edition flavors. The product is too simple, too cheap, and too effective to generate shareholder value. So instead, the industry takes the same fish, extracts one fatty acid, puts it in a soft gel, marks it up by a factor of 12, and sells it next to a separate bottle of probiotics, a separate bottle of B vitamins, and a separate bottle of amino acids. 4 products, 4 margins, 4 subscriptions, all derived from a single animal that, if you had simply fermented it whole, would have delivered everything at once. The raw material has not changed. The modern fishing industry still generates millions of tons of processing waste every year. Fish guts, blood, organs. The same material the Romans turned into the most widely consumed condiment in the ancient world. Today, most of it goes to animal feed or landfill. A fraction gets processed into fish oil. That oil gets concentrated, encapsulated, branded, and sold to you for $15 to $30 a bottle. The fish those capsules came from cost pennies per pound at the processing plant. By the time it reaches your medicine cabinet, the markup is staggering. You are not paying for the omega-3. You are paying for the extraction, the branding, the bottle, the shelf space, and the marketing that convinced you a capsule was better than the whole fish. The Romans would not have called that innovation. They would have called it a scam. You can still buy fish sauce. Any Asian grocery store carries it for a few dollars a bottle. It will not be identical to what the legions carried. Modern versions use higher salt and lack the live bacteria. But it still delivers real nutrition in a fermented form your body recognizes, for a fraction of the cost of a single supplement bottle. If you want the real thing, the recipe has not changed. Fish, salt, a ceramic container, sunlight, 2 to 3 months of patience. The chemistry that turned fish guts into medicine 20 centuries ago still works today. The enzymes have not evolved. The bacteria have not changed. The omega-3 molecules are identical. The amino acids are the same ones your muscles are built from. Nothing about the science is different. The only thing that changed is that someone built a $200 billion industry convincing you that health comes in a capsule. Go to your kitchen, open the cabinet where you keep your supplements, count the bottles, add up the monthly cost. Then ask yourself a question the Romans never had to ask. Why am I buying this?